2 weeks after burying his only uncle. Michael Ramirez was still wiping tears away when a sharp-faced woman showed up at his newly inherited ranch door waving a $150,000 bill for HOA fees and threatening to take his land. Yeah, that actually happened. And it wasn't just some mix-up. She gave him 72 hours to pay or lose the property. The kicker, Michael's ranch wasn't even part of any HOA. Let me back up a sec. Michael was just your average guy, laid-off tech worker from San Francisco, barely keeping his plants alive. Never imagined he'd own a sprawling 60-acre ranch in rural Texas. But life threw him a curveball when his uncle Luis passed away suddenly and left him everything: the land, the house, the whole shebang. He barely knew the guy, a reclusive old-timer with wild stories and a quiet kindness. But suddenly Michael was thrust into a world far from his city apartment. His trip to the ranch was a nightmare: delayed flights, confusing dirt roads that looked like they hadn't been touched since the 80s, and a rental car that threatened to overheat under the blazing Texas sun. But when he finally arrived at Ramirez Ranch, the old farmhouse and endless pastures stirred something unexpected inside him: a calm, a connection he didn't expect to feel. Neighbors started dropping by, bringing casseroles and stories of Uncle Luis, a man who fixed tractors, lent books, and stood up for his land. One neighbor, Carlos, told Michael about the nearby Golden Meadows development, a shiny new neighborhood that didn't quite fit with the rugged country life. Carlos warned Michael, "Your uncle fought those city folks hard. Watch out, they don't play fair." Sure enough, on Michael's third day, the HOA president showed up dressed to the nines, smelling of money and entitlement, demanding retroactive fees that would drain Michael's savings before he even unpacked. She tossed maps claiming the ranch was under their jurisdiction, proof of long-ignored bills, and a cold ultimatum. Michael wasn't buying it. This land had been in his family for generations, and the HOA's claim felt more like a land grab than a fee collection. Digging through old papers, Michael found a handwritten note from Uncle Luis never joined the HOA. See Addendum C. That was a clue and a spark. He teamed up with Carlos and other locals, digging up dirt on the HOA president's husband, a developer scheming to turn the lakeside into a luxury resort. The HOA fees just a cover for pushing Michael off the property. Michael gathered a motley crew: an environmental activist, a sharp lawyer who'd tangled with the HOA before, even a local reporter hungry for a story. When the town council meeting rolled around, Michael laid out the truth: bribery, backroom deals, and broken promises. The room exploded. The HOA bigwigs were forced out. But Michael knew this was just a battle, not the war. The developers didn't back down. Bulldozers started tearing up the edge of his property, claiming utility easements, while threats whispered through phone calls and emails. Michael stood firm, filming the destruction, rallying his neighbors, and using every scrap of evidence his uncle left behind. Late at night, walking under the stars on the ranch, he finally felt he wasn't just an accidental heir, but a protector of a legacy. 6 months passed, and Michael's life transformed. The city boy became a rancher working the land, embracing the quiet mornings, even bringing in tech innovations like drones to monitor crops. The victory made headlines, but the HOA president's final threat lingered: "This isn't over." Michael smiled to himself, looking out over the rolling hills bathed in moonlight. Whatever came next, he wasn't alone anymore. He had a community, a cause, and a home worth fighting for. So what do you think? Was this just a greedy HOA overreach or a classic David versus Goliath story? Have you ever faced a fight for what's rightfully yours? Drop your thoughts below. And don't forget to share if you believe standing up for your land is always worth it. You know, sometimes justice isn't about the money, it's about heart.